What I'm going to do in this particular video is look at an area like this. Okay, nothing there, nothing there. Now the turret does sort of cover a bit of it, but what I want to do is explore a technique called dot filtering. And when you've got a big boring area like that, one trick that you can do is you can use a lot of associate colours to what your model is, and you can create a bit of randomness of texture and shade on a boring flat area. So what I've got here are three oil-based colours, and I've already taken those out and put them onto a piece of cardboard. Now the reason I'm doing this is you may see the a lot of the oil starts to leach out and go into the cardboard, and that is part of this process. That's the trick, is especially when these aren't very high quality oils, well, we don't need that for what I'm doing, is we can leach out a lot of the oil that we don't want and just get the pigment. That's what we want. So now that we've got that pigment, we're going to take a very small brush and we're going to add some dots, and that's exactly why it's called dot filtering, because that's what we're going to do. There we have the tank body in close-up, because I know I've been asked to show what I do in more detail. It's often hard with the wider shots. So look, that's as close as I can go with the technology that I have, but I think we can all see that panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this dot filter. Okay, now I've added a bit of white to my palette. As you might see there, I've got the I've got a green, but it's a slightly darker green than my tank, slightly contrasting colour. I've got a blue, which is sort of in the colour spectrum. It's going to give me that interesting shade difference, and I've been told blue works really well against some green tanks. And I've got some ochre, and that also is sort of in the colour palette, and that will work. I mean, I could have put some rusty colours in there as well. You know, you can go berserk with just about any colour and create all kinds of effects, but these are the ones I've chosen. So let's begin. So I've got my paint. Let's add some dots. So you only need little ones, and there's no absolute rhyme or reason to this. You are being random. Unlike when we did the grease and grime, and we actually had a reason for things. You know, we off the edges of hatches and along seam lines we put our grime, and hanging off rails, you know, we knew it would streak because of the weather. Well, we've got no reason for this here other than we're trying to create a patella of different shades of colour to break up the monotony of just a single panel, because this panel just, there's nothing happening, there's no textures on it, there's not much there, it's pretty boring. So this is a trick to give a bit of life to an area that is just going to be quite boring otherwise. So there we go, there's our dots. And there we go, there's our dotty mess. Okay, so I know it doesn't look real nice at the moment, but believe me, this should turn into something quite interesting by the time we're finished. Alright, so taking a bigger, softer brush now, I'm going to use a little bit of my nice odourless thinner, and I'm going to do similar brushwork as we did to get the rain streaks out of our original wash. Remember, we put the dark wash on and then we basically washed it out with a brush with a bit of thinner on, and that gave us not only the fact we could control how little or how much wash we had there, but we could also sort of add a bit of a rain streak. We killed two birds with one stone. And the same when we put the grime in, we slathered the grime on in all the places we wanted it, but it was very overdone. Then we came in with our brush and we feathered that out, thinned it down and thinned it down until it was just little streaks. Well, that's what we're going to do here. So we take our dots and we start blurring them. I'm going to work in this direction because that's going to work for me for a bit of a sort of worked off rainy type effect. And already, I don't know if you notice, they're starting to disappear, but in their place we're just getting differentiation of sort of tones in the panel, and that's what we were trying to do. So there we go. How's that look? Beauty with this is, if you take it too far, you can tone it back, or if you've taken too much off, well, you just got to leave it till it dries, or leave it a little while and you can add some more. Now, I know my light is fighting me here, but you may be able to see the tonal differences. Not sure. Might be just too much light there. But anyhow, what we'll do is we'll let that dry, and then we'll come back and we'll put the turret on top, and you can see the contrasting difference of how that's made that panel look a bit weather-worn and sort of splodged and a lot more interesting. That's what we're trying to do. Now, it's been some time since we put the dot filter on, and it's starting to dry nicely, along with a little bit of grime that I snuck in there as well. I don't know how well that's showing up, but I've dot filtered all over this, including things like those little fuel tins. Everything's had a little bit of a dot filter just to break up the tonality, otherwise it's just all green, green, green. So I'll do some photos and run a little sequence at the end of this. You might be able to see that more clearly in the photos, because it might be a bit hard to see just in video. Photos tend to be less shaky than Harry's wobbly hands, but anyhow, you'll see the griminess that's starting to come together there on the back. I've gone a bit more excessive with all the grime and the wash, and also the dot filter. There's lots of stuff there, and that's deliberate because engine bays are grimy, greasy, sort of oily little areas. So that's how that's gone. But you'll see the oil cans, or fuel cans on the side, depending whether you call it gasoline, oil or fuel. But anyhow, they've really come up nicely. They've got little grimy drips down from their filler caps, and the sides of the clasps or the straps that hold them on, they're all nicely weathered there with the wash. And there's a bit of a dot matrix thing happening there. Dot filter. Goodness, that takes me back to my early computer days, dot matrix. Look that up, find out what a dot matrix is. Yes, that's back in the dinosaur days when Harry was a computer programmer. Anyhow, so there you go. Alright, that's it for now. Hooroo from Australia, I'm Harry Houdini, and this is my SU-152. See ya!